Guys, welcome back to Medical Coding with Blue. Today's episode is all about, can brand new medical coders work part-time? If you're brand new to my channel, welcome. I am Blue, I'm a medical coder. Okay guys, so I have addressed this question many times on the new coder expectations, the realistic expectations for brand new medical coders. A lot. I've done this many times. But this is a repetitive question that is coming up a lot in the comments lately. And this comment actually inspired today's episode. So I'm going to read it and then we're going to begin. So here we go. Do you think it would be possible to start off as part-time, less than 15 hours per week? So when you're brand new, the thing is, they are going to want you there full-time. Now, if you are brand new and all of a sudden you found a part-time position, that's great for you. But this does not happen a lot. I don't know every employer in the world, but when I do my research on like what employers are looking for, which I do on a regular basis, I have to, as part of research for the show and making sure that the information that I give is most current. And so when I look in these job postings and I see for part-time, of course they're going to want the coder to be experienced, but they don't mention anything about like brand new coders or, you know, if you have education or any of those things. They don't mention those things because they really want the people that are working part-time to have experience. And the reason is, if you are brand new, they're going to have to spend time training you. And that means if you are working less than 15 hours a week, then what is even the point? Because let's just say you work 10 hours a week. So that means half of that time they're going to be spending with you trying to train you. So they're only going to get 5 hours of work out of you. And then it's going to take time for you to ramp up. So there's almost no point and no reason for you to even be there. So you have to think about when you're going into this industry, and brand new medical coders have a lot of demands, more so than I've ever seen from my time coming up. But a lot of brand new coders want to work remotely and they want to work part-time and they want to make their own schedule. Now, if you keep saying this, you know, employers are going to get even more frustrated because it's like you can't have your cake and eat it too. When you are brand new, you do have to get your foot in the door somewhere. So that if that means that you have to start off working full-time and doing all of these things, that's the way that it has to be. In order for you to learn and to be ready when you're out there and to have the best chance of really understanding what's happening, you have to be someplace and you have to be working full time. The idea that you want to work part-time or work whatever hours you want to is not really realistic. So you want to make sure that you are setting yourself up for success by putting out realistic expectations, like working full-time. Because again, if you're trying to work part-time, they're not going to get all of the production out of you that they need. And again, it's like, why are you even there if they're only going to get half of the production out of you and you're still trying to learn? Medical coding requires you to have some devotion as far as you're going to spend the time to learn this so that you can get to those times when you are going to be able to work part-time after you've had experience, or you are going to be able to work remotely completely once you've had experience. Now, yes, the pandemic did change the whole landscape of how medical coders get hired, because before the pandemic, if you did not have experience, you were not going to get in, period. And so now that they have, well, you know, because we're doing half hybrid schedules, and some are still like that. Some are, you work remotely a certain amount of time and then you come in a couple of days out of the week, or, you know, maybe every other couple of weeks, and they do that now. So it really all depends on where you're working. But again, if you're looking for that sole thing and that is absolutely what you want and you are unwilling to try other things, you know, that's where you're going to set yourself up to fail. And all of the money and the time that you spent in the school and trying to get your certification is going to be for naught, because you insisted on an expectation that was not realistic. So again, guys, make sure that when you're thinking about getting into this field, that you are prepared to work full time. And you may have other issues and other things, but that's not for the employer to know. I mean, they don't have to know your entire life story, because sometimes people will say, well, I want to work part-time because I have all of these family issues, or I have another issue, and they just tell their whole life story. Well, the employer doesn't care. At the end of the day, the employer, I shouldn't say they don't care, but at the end of the day, the priority for the employer is the company. And you have to understand that. That's not, anything that's unrealistic for the company. They have to look out for the company, because that company or that facility or that service has so many people dependent on it for money and for employment. So everybody has to be able to pull their weight, medical coders included. Now, medical coders have a big part of this, because it is us that makes sure that the facility or the provider gets the proper amount of money that they are supposed to, because of the codes that we are selecting based on their documentation. And so again, it comes back to us and our knowledge and the things that we have to learn. And you can't do that if you only got your foot halfway in the water. You have to go in completely, and you have to be saying, okay, well, here I am, and I'm going to work full-time, and I'm going to do this so that I can get my experience and get my practice in. There's a lot of unrealistic expectations out there, and this is one of them, working part-time. It just does not happen for brand new people. And again, if it did happen for you, that's great. But for the vast majority, you're going to run into a brick wall, okay? And it's hard enough to get the employer to want to take a chance on somebody that's brand new, let alone somebody that's brand new already coming in with a list of demands like, I want to work part-time, I want to work remotely, I want to make my own schedule. You have to be willing to cater to the employer first. Now, when I first started in medical coding, I started off with a temp agency. They were the ones who got me a position in medical coding. I worked at the Cancer Therapy Research Center, and then I worked for a hospital. So I had to work based on the schedule that they gave me at the first place. The second place, I was able to make, I had to work during the week, but I could work on Sunday. So they said when I worked on Sunday, because they wanted to have 7-day-a-week coverage. So I agreed to take the Sunday through Thursday schedule, and they told me because I agreed to work on Sunday that I could start any time of the day as long as I got all of my hours done on that day. And I was like, that's fine with me, because then I didn't have to wake up so early in the morning. I could, start later in the evening if I wanted to. I could start really early if I wanted to. And so that was a very nice perk of that job. Well, of course, when I came here to my permanent coding home, I had a set schedule, okay? You have to work these set hours. And, they had us working the regular set hours, and then we could adjust our schedules once we'd been there for 30 days. So I went from 6 to 2:30. That was my hours at work. So that worked out for years just fine. And so I preferred that schedule, and I had a 30-minute lunch, and everything's great, but I had to have time in order to get that. When I worked remotely, I worked for a level 1 trauma hospital remotely, and when I signed on, they said you can work any hours you want to, as long as you get your time done. That was perfect, but again, I was an experienced coder coming in with experience and know-how already. So I was working remotely, which that was my first time working remotely. And because, again, I had experience, I didn't have to worry about like, oh gosh, what do I do? And this was all coding for level 1 traumas and coding for same-day surgeries. So that was okay for me because, again, I had experience, and it was much easier for me to do something like that because I could just easily get into that kind of environment because it made sense to me. As somebody that's brand new, would I ever recommend that for somebody that's brand new? Heck no. No, because you need somebody there to guide you, to coach you, to be able to reach out to if you have questions. When you're working remotely, you're by yourself. This is not like where you're in school and you have the books and you have the other classmates. You are literally on your own trying to figure this stuff out. So again, you couple that with, oh, I'm only working part-time. Again, that does not work because there's no productivity coming out of that coder. So if that is your expectation, or if somebody told you that that was possible, think again, because you can look at the job listings, and I encourage you guys to look at the job listings. I get questions all the time that could easily be answered by looking at the job listings and just looking under medical coder, revenue cycle tech, because there's some medical coders that are called that, coder 1, coder 2, coder 3, and you can see the types of hours that they are offering, and you will see that the majority of them are full-time positions. So again, if you are looking at something like you want to do this part-time and you only want to work it around your schedule, that is not realistic. And again, you're just setting yourself up for frustration and failure. So that is my advice anyway, as a veteran medical coder. You don't have to listen to me. It's whatever you want to do. But again, I'm not trying to sell you anything. And I'm not from a school. I don't have a school. I don't have a program. I'm not trying to sell anything. Schools and programs will do this. They will say, oh yes, you can make your own schedule and work your own hours and work remotely so you can be with your family, because they are trying to sell a program. I am a veteran medical coder that is not trying to sell anything. I'm trying to tell you guys what is up. So I hope that you guys, heed my advice and expect to start working full time when you are out there looking for jobs. You are going to be looking, and looking for a job is a full-time job until you find your full-time job. But this does not mean that, you can't get out there and start applying, because there's a lot of people that are just kind of looking at all the things that they don't get in the beginning when they're trying to find a job. They want this high salary that they were promised from the school. They want to be able to set their own hours. They want to be able to do all of these things. But again, if you have realistic expectations, you're going to know that part-time is completely off the table when you are brand new. Just my advice anyway. So that's my episode for today. Thank you guys so much for joining me. If this video helped you, I hope you give it a thumbs up, like, and subscribe, and I will see y'all next time. Bye.